Hi everyone. If I haven't spoken to you before, this is Danny Diwali, solution architect for the alliances, and the goal today is explain to you our platform, our products, and how it relates into the quality process and into the challenges that your clients will face. I always like to start my presentations with some type of data. We had a research from Forrester that we use some of the data from, and one of the items there is an overwhelming majority of leaders that agree that speed and quality are key to achieving top business goals. And every time I look at this slide, I make a joke. In the past, you had to choose between one of them, right? So do you want things fast so you won't have quality? And if you want things with quality, it will be slower. So there is no choice for that today. We talk about transformation projects, business transformation, and everything has to happen with quality and with speed and within the costs that were associated to that particular project. So in order to do that, Tricentis has really worked hard to build a very deep and broad solution tool set, which we call our platform and Tricentis products that work together, but also individually. It is very common for us to enter into clients with a small footprint of either one or two, perhaps. And then it is also very common in the next 12 to 18 months that we expand this to 2, 3, 4 products. And this happens very, very constantly. And we're going to go over all that platform. I just want to highlight from this slide here our journey with innovation, where we add innovation, we add new features, we add artificial intelligence, machine learning. We're adding cloud-enabled capabilities to some of the products that were not yet done. With that type of commitment, we have made several acquisitions throughout the years. The latest one being Testim, the cloud-ready web app testing. It's a brand new product with that. We're still embedding this into our offering. And we have just also recently acquired a former integrator of ours, TX3, with its products, Tricentis Vera, and it's now also part of our portfolio. And with that, we also have so many other products that we can offer. And I would like to look at them with you in a really different way. The way I'd like to look at with you on those products is not on the product itself, but on the need. So when we look at our clients, when we look at the landscape that we have today, we see a couple of things. We see that every business is a digital business, number one. Number two, we see very complex landscapes. There are no more simple landscape nowadays. There is always one or two ERPs, and large enterprise applications such as SAP, ServiceNow, Workday, Oracle, Salesforce. And within those applications, we have intermediary, we have middleware, we have microservices, APIs, we have databases, we have business intelligence. So the environments today are getting more and more complex. And with the migration to the cloud, this becomes even more with a faster updates, with a faster release cycles. And in order to get to that initial point of speed and quality in that very complex environment, we really have to answer some questions. The first questions on quality, on how to adopt continuous testing, is what is it that we need to test? And there are multiple approaches for that. The traditional one is the manual one, which is, well, I have to map what I need to test. I need to map my requirements, and I need to tie those to test scenarios. So I have to have traceability of my requirements. And every time we ask our clients, and we have a history of that measurement, we know that on average, only 37% of business risk is ever covered before we get in. And after we implement our products, this raises to above 85%. And so it's very important that we have business risk coverage on quality across of our business functions. But what if we can do this in a smarter way? What if we can do this using technology, using innovation? And this is what we're going to show how to do it too. Once that question is answered, we then have subsequent and follow-up questions. Does it work? If we now know our scope, let's test it. Let's test this manually. Let's test this automatically. Let's test this in the application, unit, system, integrated, user acceptance tests. Does it scale? Do we have now the capability of those tools to be able to respond to not only the needs of our business, but the need of our customers? Can a customer wait for more than 2 seconds or 3 seconds of a click of a button? And we know that slow is the new downtime. So we need to focus on that particular issue. How about the data? Data now flows across this in very complex environment, and data has to be validated, has to be guaranteed that it flows properly all throughout all those systems, because data, after all, is the test. If we have answered all of those previous questions, can we go to production? Is this ready? Can we provide dashboards? Can we provide audit? And so forth. And so with all of that, and on top of life sciences business that also require validation, you can see that we have a really complete set of tools to answer all those questions and to be able to fully provide you with solutions, whether integrated or isolated to each one of those challenges. So with that, I would like to go over individually those products so we can talk about them. And then after each one of them, we can open for some questions. The first product in our pipeline is the product that answers the question, what is it that we need to test and is it ready? Which really is the beginning and the end of this entire journey, which is Tricentis Q-Test. Tricentis Q-Test is our test management tool that does very agile test management in the ways that the business actually is leading out nowadays. It improves this traceability of your DevOps tool chain, and it shift left your quality by allowing collaboration between teams. Now, this is all well and good. So in reality, when we look at the market, we have two types of tools today. We have the enterprise tools or tool, and you have the very particular competitor, HPQC or Micro Focus ALM. Enterprise tool, great enterprise tool, but it lacks agility. It lacks updating. It lacks functionality. It lacks integration with other DevOps. So it's just stayed behind on history, and it's just now an outdated solution. And on the other hand, we have plugins to Jira, which happen to be the tool of choice for most application lifecycle, and Jira tends to be the initial tool of controlling your requirements, and why not? It could be other tool, but Jira typically is the largest use today in the market. You would have plugins that will tend to be more agile because they are embedded into Jira, but they will lack functionality and then certainly lack enterprise capability. Q-Test fits exactly in the middle of those two worlds, providing you with the best of them. And on top of that, a bunch of other features. Q-Test is a platform in itself where you can manage your manual, your automated tests from multiple sources, not only Tosca, but also from Selenium, from other tools. It allows for BDD, transforming your Gherkin code into scenarios. It can create business workflows through Q-Test Pulse, and so forth and so on. And my favorite feature of Q-Test really is Q-Test Insights, which is a very, very nice dashboard. It's a BI that offers quality reports with predetermined reports, and also the capability of doing customized dashboards. Very, very easy, very, very nice to use, and our customers really like it. Q-Test is a fully SaaS solution. It's available on the cloud. It can also be installed on-prem if needed. And in terms of licenses, all of our products are subscription with 3-year contracts. And Q-Test has two types of licenses. Q-Test Enterprise, that allows both the SaaS and the on-prem installation, with also concurrent and named licenses, and Qtest Pro that only offers the SaaS solution with named licenses for a reduced cost. Let's talk about Tricentis Tosca. Tosca is the product that originated with Tricentis, is the world-leading automation software, has been awarded by Gartner, IDC, and Forrester for many years as the top leading automation tool, and there are several good reasons for that to happen. Folks like myself who've done this for 20 plus years, who have used many automation tools before, when we see Tosca, I have a coworker called Bill Hayden that he says, if only I had known Tosca before, it would have made our lives so much easier in the projects that we used to work. Tosca is good because it democratizes test automation, because it doesn't require development. It doesn't require any development skills. Everything is model-based, no script. You can create automation with just selecting controls, dragging them, creating flows and configuration, and adding data and running. It's super simple. Any 6-year-old can learn how to do automation with Tosca as long as you know the application. So model-based test automation really revolutionizes the way that test automation is done, and it allows for easier adoption, which means you can now have manual testers to do automation, can have functional folks, business to do automation, and why not? The other point is the support for technologies. We really are, Tosca is an end-to-end testing tool for over 160 technologies, all the way from mainframe to mobile devices, anything in between, every single browser, everything, single app. We're yet to see an app where Tosca doesn't work, unless it's a super outdated app. And even then, we can probably find some ways of automating in Tosca. So this capability of testing not only one system, but all the others, does not have any equal in the market in the size and breadth and of the number of technologies that it's supported. And not only automation, but we also offer test data management. So if you want to organize your data to have scenarios to run in different data variations, but you want to do it in an optimized way, we have algorithms to create that. We have a feature called test case design that generates this data, manages this data, and organizes it in an optimized fashion. And we also can provision this data through services so that you don't have to worry about looking at outdated Excel files and see if the data was used and why not. And Tosca can do this all automatically. We have a risk-based testing approach where you can see here at the very middle of the screen a traceability between your requirement, your business requirement, and your test cases, not only your test cases coverage, but your execution and why not, and the results. So giving you a great go, no-go decision maker there. And Tosca does all of this in the 3 layers of your applications, in the GUI level, in the API services level, which it's really amazing how you can make a service model-based, business-like, with business parameters. So you don't need a technical person to look at XML, JSON files. They can just look at a test case, and also in the database level. So really, you can test all of the layers, and you can do this with a positive ROI, which means you do not lose your automation level, even though you continue to do releases, which is completely opposite of what the legacy automation tools do. With legacy automation tools, you can automate 80% of an application on the first release, but on the second, you lose it because you need to maintain, you need to go and change it. Tosca reduces, if not eliminates, all of that maintenance, and then you keep this 80-90% automation rates continuously. Very many examples out there. All of the use cases that Michael sent you, you can see some of those examples where millions of dollars are saved even in year 1. The ROI comes between 6 and 8 months, so it's very quick to implement. This is all offered within an on-prem solution. Currently, Tosca is on-prem, again, subscription with concurrent licenses. So let's say you have 20 licenses, you can enter 100 people on the license pool, but the first 20 we use. So it's flexible and you can work with different hours on the product. And on top of that, if you would like to also add the flexibility of virtualizing services to have complement your environment with services so you can test your end-to-end, we have a module called Service Virtualization that is another license on top of Tosca that can help out with that. So let's talk about Live Compare. Live Compare currently is a solution for SAP only, but even though it's only SAP, it's a great quick win solution for SAP users, which really any large enterprise, I think SAP is within the 90% of all large enterprise will have SAP. And it's one of the reasons why SAP had partnered with Tricentis with a strategic partnership that we have. Most, if not all of those products on the left side column there are in the Solex SAP agreement. So we can, SAP sell our products through them and they're certified through them. And they also use internally to test their products with our solutions. And Live Compare really is that intelligent way of finding what to test right at the beginning of your test phases. So Live Compare can assess with the click of a button without need of documentation, without any preparation, without running extensively. It usually takes a couple of hours, depending on the size of your SAP database. And it doesn't use your production database, which doesn't affect performance, to identify with precision exactly what needs to be tested, the objects that you have, the impacted objects between one release and the other, and then determine what is the minimum subset necessary. We call that most at risk that needs to be tested. On average, we save 85 or more % of time of testing when using Live Compare. For those of you familiar with SAP, when SAP has a large implementation, they have a process called hypercare, which basically means I don't have time to test, let's do it in production. That's exactly what hypercare is. And it takes 3 to 4 months. With Live Compare, we have found out to eliminate completely, 100% eliminate hypercare. So it's a great cost and time savings. Just to give you one example of one of our clients, they used to do 11 releases a year, and with Live Compare and manual tests, no automation at that particular point, they quadrupled the number of releases, going to 44 in a year. So as simple as that, I can laser focus what I need to test. I can guarantee that that will give me 100% quality, and I can reduce the time and effort of my tests. So Live Compare, super product. And not only the change impact analysis, but Live Compare has many other functions that we can talk for more than an hour just on the functions, such as auditing capability, assessing if your SAP users are being utilized so you can eliminate some of your licensing costs, checking your master data governance, and so forth and so on. So there are many other capabilities within Live Compare. Live Compare, has a web interface, but it's usually installed on-prem for security reasons. And it's licensed, it's also subscription, but it's based on the SAP database side of the production that you use for the reason that the concept is that you will save more the larger is your database. So it's the concept of how much can you purchase to save more time and effort, and that's exactly what we do. So it's an amazing product. It's a must-have for SAP implementations. NeoLoad is the concept of load and performance built into the low-code, no-code mentality. So imagine that you can do exactly the same type of performance capabilities that any other tool, including the leading tool in the market, which is LoadRunner, but do this with more productivity. In our assessments, we can do one particular script in LoadRunner in 4 hours, and we can do the same one in 30 minutes at NeoLoad. So the exact same concept that Tosca has, which is I want to do my tests, and in this case, they're performance tests, I can do them without code or with very low code. Neoload really accelerates this process. It allows you to integrate with other tools, which is a big need in the market today. So with your CI/CD pipeline, with your DevOps tools, with your current pipeline of tools natively. It has three components. The web component, the one you see on your screen, which is basically a managerial kind of executive level reporting that it's fully on the cloud, and you can see those reports and share them across your organization for your performance results. We have the load generators that can be on the cloud or it can be on-prem. And then we have what we call Neoload GUI, that is the product for the performance engineers, where they would create their scripts. One really great feature about Neoload is that it can integrate very well with Tosca. So you can actually reuse some of the definitions in Tosca. So let's say you have automation of your SAP system or any other ERP or any other system. Some of those automated test cases can be leveraged and utilize its definition without new creation to run performance and load tests using Neoload. So Neoload really saves you a lot of time, provides you with a lot of productivity, and it integrates very well with the EPM tools to offer you those reports in terms of providing this information on down the line. And finally, just to comment, because it's easy to use and because you can create those sets quicker, you can then do those tests earlier in your development cycle. So typically, we would use performance tests. This is historically, I used to manage performance teams for a long time. You have to wait until quality is done, until testing is done, and do it at the very end in a very short period of time. With Neoload, you can actually reutilize some of those automation tests. You can create them very quickly, so you can do those performance tests in sprint. So it's a tool that's very, very in high right now. I've done 3 demonstrations of Neoload this week alone for SAP clients in LATAM. So it's an amazing product, which should be really looked into, not only replacing the current solution by providing them with cost savings and productivity, but also introducing something of teams that normally wouldn't do performance because of skills. Now they're able to do with a tool that actually allows for more adoption. Neoload licensing is based on virtual users that can be complemented with virtual user hours. So there are initial packages that you can have. So there is no limit of access. There's limit of virtual users that you're going to do your tests with. So you need to have some levers of your non-functional requirements to be able to assess the size of that, but we can help you with that. Moving on, data integrity. We spoke about data. Data is testing is data. Data is testing, and it's often overlooked. But even worse, there really is no solution in the market that can do what Tosca Data Integrity, Tricentis Data Integrity can do. DI, as we call, is really a license on top of Tosca. So when you have Tricentis Data Integrity, you have Tosca with steroids. So imagine that you have data flowing from the sources, and then you can talk about legacy databases, mainframes, and why not. And you have now enterprises that are moving to the cloud, moving to data warehouses. So the data now is moving across several instances, going through this transformation layer, this ETL layer, those data lakes, and then eventually going to BI, business intelligence, and reports. That all has to be validated, reconciled, and guarantee quality across. The only way of doing this today is manually. You're going to need a team of 10 to 20 DBAs to run and create manually thousands of SQL queries to guarantee that this works, or to mine those large batch files in order to do that. Imagine if you could do this just like Tosca does, with the same model-based approach, by eliminating the need of SQL queries. So what DI does with its wizards, you can basically select a source and a destination, It can be a database, it can be a file. Once you do that, it shows you the rules of those files when it's a structure table in a structure file, and you can select the rules that you want to engage, and DI will create for you thousands of test cases that are model-based without the need of any scripting. So it's again the same concept of optimizing and creating the tests in an easy way that can be easier maintained later on, and are also very high impact, eliminating a lot of manual process across the board. Very hard to have use cases for data integrity. Companies don't like to share that they have failed on with their data validations, but we have some of them. I think WordPay is one of them. So we can offer you some use cases where millions of dollars were saved and thousands of man hours were saved by doing this the smart way. So you can have the speed and quality. Great. So I'm going to just brush into the next one because it doesn't apply to banking. This applies more to the life sciences. So if you need e-validation, electronic validation, compliance with governmental compliance requirements, Vera is a tool that has been added recently to the portfolio, and that helps you do this auditing in an easy and fully electronic way. And then finally, we're moving now into niche solutions that not necessarily are used for the QA teams, for the quality, for the testing teams, but are used for separate isolated teams. For instance, in the ServiceNow world, if you're testing ServiceNow embedded into your end-to-end test, so you have SAP, you have to validate a PDF file, and then you have to check it in ServiceNow, Tosca continues to be your point of solution. But if you are the IT team responsible for doing ServiceNow upgrades, and I'm not sure if you know, but they have to do twice a year major updates, and if you don't maintain, and if you lapse upgrading, when you're N-3, you're forced up immediately without any testing. So you might lose a lot of, you might have a lot of problems in that transition. So a lot of this is done or not done for lack of time manually. And so TTR for ServiceNow is built natively in ServiceNow. It is used by ServiceNow users and maintainers and developers to do the unit test and the system test of ServiceNow. It's also with the same low-code, no-code approach, and it can create test cases automatically for you by using this concept. So it's a different concept, but it's a different concept that is really used for ServiceNow teams that require that level of automation. Because we're certified by ServiceNow, this is available at the ServiceNow store. With that, we complete the set of tools, and I just want to complete by saying that regardless of the tool, our concept of providing speed and quality is across the board on all of those solutions. We want to make sure that you reduce your efforts, you increase your automation rates, that you reduce your maintenance efforts, you reduce your costs, and overall you have faster cycles and quality coverage. That's what I had planned to present it to you, and I'm open for more questions.